Cool. All right, we are live. Okay, so the purpose of this is just to get you used to the systems that we have for mentoring and the processes that we try to follow, so that um, we're giving people the right kind of information, we're pointing them to all the right areas, and also we're communicating in a way that um, that is centralized, so that in case one of us gets hit by the proverbial bus, somebody else can step in and kind of fix, get everybody moving along forward. So the first thing I want to cover is just kind of like a general overview of what you should be doing with your WordCamps. And first of all, um, obviously, you're here because you've done WordCamps before. You have experience in doing WordCamp, putting them on, and so that experience is uh, invaluable, I think, to new organizers, especially ones who have never organized an event before. So it's not just what you do, but what you've tried and what doesn't work, that are good things to impart on WordCamp organizers um, as you're talking with them. Generally, we like to set it up so that throughout the entire WordCamp organizing process, you meet with them about every 2 weeks. It doesn't have to be, a long chat or anything like that. It can be, half an hour, 15 minutes, depending on where they're at in their process. But because the process, is more internalized to our community, oftentimes when you have new WordCamp organizers, they just don't know who to talk to or what to do next. So really guiding them along that process is one of our key goals, making it a smooth process. So after they get approved, you're able to help them to get, their budget all put together. You would talk to them about things that, you know, they want to make sure they think of, things like food or things like venue costs, things like that. Um, and just guide them to get a reasonable budget put together. And then once they're done with that, get them hooked up with a deputy to actually get that approved. And again, just going through the process of what it looks like, the different pieces that they need and when. So if they need a venue contract signed before their site can go live, just talking about what that process looks like um, for us internally, so that they can, they're not waiting on us to do things for them. Um, there is a page on make.wordpress.org/community in the deputy handbook that covers general guidelines for mentoring. And I will make sure and I put that link here in the notes for the broadcast. I'll also put it here in the chat so that you guys have it. But basically, this kind of goes over what we want you to do as a deputy. You're going to be meeting with everybody with your WordCamp teams. It could be more than one, every 2 weeks. And once you've done that, in order to really help camps that may not be mentored or may not be seeing the insight that you're able to give, we want to make sure we post updates from those calls on the make/community blog. So whenever you have that meeting, you'll go there, and every day there's an automated post called daily updates. So you'll just create a comment, a follow-up to that, and just say, hey, I talked to WordCamp Narnia, whatever it is, and these are the things we covered. These are the next steps. They're on track. Nothing, no problems. If there are problems, you can talk about those too, and solutions that might be there. That way, the greater community can benefit from that. But obviously, like if there's anything that's sensitive information, we want to protect that in a way that doesn't hurt anybody. So those kind of things you can sort of anonymize or not include if it doesn't make sense to. But the overall goal is to get an update out to the Make blog as quickly as possible, so that if other people need to be involved in some sort of decision or some sort of blocking thing, you can do that. So that's sort of the fundamental bits. All of our communication to WordCamp organizers goes through our support channel. We have a website, support.wordcamp.org, which has our home-baked support system. You create tickets in there when you're instead of composing an email from your email client, you can compose it from there, create a new ticket, send it out there, and then that way every deputy who's involved in the system can sort of track communications between people and make sure that if there's anything that they need to interject or add to, they can. It basically provides greater coverage for, when the inevitable, my kid's sick and I need to stay at home or whatever happens, other people can step in and pick up that. So that's good. If you don't have that already, I'll get that set up for you after the call. I think everybody except for Guga has signed the deputy agreement already, so we're good there. And we have, I think you've been added to all the systems. So really the goal, like I said, is just to ease a lot of the anxiety that WordCamp organizers have when they're coming in, and just give them a support system that's more than just one person. It's just a community of helpers. So that's the overall goal. If there are problems that you have that don't get bubbled up on the Make blog, the community team channels, the outreach channel, as well as the events channel are good places on Slack to look for additional support. You can ask people, flag people down there, and they'll be happy to reach out and help you solve any problems you're having. And yeah, I mean that's a lot of the broad strokes. I know at least each of you has one WordCamp that you're either being assigned to or have been assigned to already. So more specific instructions, I guess, will be for all the systems and credentials, things like that will be emailed to you. But the system that one of the big hurdles that I think people go through initially is the dealing with support press and triaging tickets and things like that. Most of you will just be starting out with just mentoring, so you won't have to be triaging specifically. But one of the things that you'll have to do is get used to support press. So once you have your credentials, logging in and seeing what the interface looks like is probably going to be helpful. I think I can actually pull it up. Yeah, okay, hold on. I'm just going to screen share real quick. Okay, so I've got support press pulled up here. It generally has just tickets in here in the inbox. So you'll see, really everything that's in here. When you're going to communicate with any of your organizers, you'll just click New Ticket, give it a subject. It's just like an email client. You can add CCs and BCCs. What we ask you to do for tagging is you can put tags that make sense for this camp. So on the left-hand side, you'll see the component. WordCamp will be something you'll use. Mentor will be something that you use, and then the name for the specific camp. So let's say it's Narnia, WordCamp Narnia. You would put Mentor, WordCamp, and then Narnia. You'd write your email and then send it. Send and close, because basically once you're sending it, you don't want it to be listed within the inbox there. So if you send it by itself, it will just stick around. It will show up in the inbox itself. But this is kind of our view there. If you need to if you need to respond to something that's really already been, there's a defined answer for, you'll find that in the predefined replies here. You can kind of go through these and take a look. You can, it basically populates the text area and lets you not have to write everything from scratch every time. So lots of good information in there if you take a look. And you can, if you're viewing a ticket, let's see if I need to find a mentor ticket. Searching for these, you can find any ticket in here by searching. That is not what I'm looking for. Let's see. Okay, so you'll see in here it's just a threaded conversation. So every time that you send a ticket out, they can respond back via email, and it will get added to this automatically. When you're in the ticket interface, if you just need to add an internal note, you can do that through the add a note section. So you just type in, this is my note, and then you can either add it to keep it open if you need to do some more things on it, or add and close to kind of hide it and wait for a response from the organizer. If you need to ask for help from somebody, you can click the notify button and find their username. So if I needed to tell Randy, hey, you should really check in because this person's been waiting for you, you can do this. This will add an internal note here, but also email a copy to Randy so that he knows to take a look with a link to view this thread. So those are the basic functionality. We never really delete unless it's spam, but you don't have to worry about that. So you can reopen something if you need to, flag it for sort of follow-up. Tickling, I don't think anybody really knows what that does, but there it is. This is a good way to kind of follow up with your organizers so that it's all in one place, and if you ever need help, you can just point another deputy to the thread here. Let's see. So that is most of what you're going to need to do in Support Press right off the bat. And then I think that's mostly it. Let's see, are there any questions that you guys have about the mentorship program in general, or any of the process or tools that we are using? You're all in varying stages of where you're at in mentorship programs, so you might have different questions at this point. I'll just open it up for you guys.
I sent one question on the chat about the language. I'm Brazilian, and I'm mentoring a WordCamp here in Brazil. Is it okay if we talk in Portuguese?
Typically, I think for greater coverage, it's best to communicate in English if possible.
Okay.
But I do know, I believe it's Guga who has a camp where the lead organizer doesn't speak English. And in that case, obviously we can't force anybody to use English. So communicate in what's most natural and most helpful there. But if possible, for coverage sake, it would be good to be able to use English.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Randy, is there anything that has been coming up for you in mentoring that maybe I missed, or anything that you might need any clarification on?
I think the only I do have a question about the budget. One of the things that I know that I'm capable of doing my own budget. Is there somebody on the inside, like I think Kevin last year did, he kind of recapped on the Nashville budget last year when I was just being the organizer, and I was wondering if after I've had a chance to look at, say, Cincinnati's budget, will Kevin do like a second pass, or is Tammy doing a second pass, or like the official pass?
Sure. Yeah, so in order to get the budget actually approved, it does need to go through a deputy. So with your experience as an organizer, obviously working to kind of highlight and figure out what those, like, oh, don't forget about your snack budget or whatever it is. Those are things that you can help guide them to do. Again, we want them to do most of the work. We don't want to actually have you have to worry about planning another WordCamp. But once you take a look at it and you're like, yeah, this seems pretty good. That's when you want to really hook them up with a deputy, so that that deputy can go do a full budget review and provide the approval, as well as give them the allocation of their community sponsor funds and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, in the sense of as being a deputy myself,
right.
Reviewing. Yeah. After I've reviewed like Cincinnati's budget, would there be somebody else that needs to also review the budget, like a secondary review, like Cami or yourself or Kevin?
There is a list somewhere for who's kind of like trained in budget reviews. So there is a list of people I can give to you to basically send that in. Basically what we say is when someone's ready for budget review, they need to send an email in to support@wordcamp.org saying that they need a budget review and what their camp is, so that the deputies who are triaging the support press system, they'll be able to notify or pick up whoever needs budget reviews and flag that to the right people. So really, when they get to a completion state of whatever phase they're on, they should be emailing into support press, so that that next step can be taken by whoever needs to be taking it.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah, and so most of the time, that's the communication channel of preference. Is if there's ever any questions that are, even if they're trying to reach you, typically, the goal is to have them emailing support@wordcamp.org, so that that ticket goes in there, and then again, as someone's triaging, they'll go in there and click the notify button, go, hey, Randy, you have an update from so-and-so, and then you'll get an email to your inbox that you can go in and view and take care of there.
Cool. Yeah, the Cincinnati folks, I think they had emailed me through the budget document,
okay,
and then replied to me personally, and so I moved it back into support press and mentioned it, and
cool.
But it's been working pretty good so far.
Cool. Yeah, and if budget reviews is something that obviously you've built your own budgets, and so you have some of that insight already, if that's something that you're interested in doing, I'm sure like Kevin can train you on that, or Joseph or Cami or whoever can train you on what those bits are, so that it eliminates I guess the need to have another person in. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I think right now they had submitted, or they had a budget ready, and I looked at it, and the numbers were still a lot of default numbers, and I asked them to get estimate numbers put in there, and so they're going to do that. So
perfect. Yeah, no, those are good insights too. I mean, when a WordCamp organizer sees a budget that's filled in for the first time, they're like, oh, a lot of this is done for me. So, that sort of guidance of, yeah, you're going to want to actually talk to specific vendors about, how much it's going to cost for you to do this, not for just a generic person to do this. So that's definitely good guidance to give them.
Cool.
Anything else?
Not from me.
All right. Raphael, anything from you?
Not for me neither.
Okay, cool. And then Guga's good. All right, cool. And Guga, just so you know, I have to follow up with you separate to get you the mentorship agreement or the deputy agreement signed, and get you access to all the systems that you need so that you can post updates, get into all the support press, all that kind of stuff too.
Okay.
So, cool. All right. Well, that's all I have for now. If obviously, if you have any questions as you're going through the process, feel free to hit me on Slack or anything like that, or any of the deputies too. They're all available in the outreach channel. So I think that'll be it. And thanks.